Now in Post-Mauryan, by this time, you got some idea that how different political conditions prevailed in Indian subcontinent after Mauryan time period. Today what we are going to do, now with this understanding, now we will come to mains answer writing. How to utilize the same content when it comes to the answer writing. First of all, the first major question, historians used to consider this post-Mauryan period as the Dark Age. Their main concern was they always have taken, whenever there is centralized administration, whenever there is a unified polity, or in simple term, if there is any big large empire, that large empire time period was considered as the golden period, because scholars considered that whenever single authority stays, law and order prevails, stability prevails, economy will flourish, art and culture will flourish. This is what glorious period. Whenever there was no centralized authority, scholars considered it as a dark period, assuming that there was no stability, there was no progress in economy, there was no progress in art and culture. But post-Mauryan period proved them the wrong. That despite there was no single authority, the other parameters are satisfying. Economy is growing, then art and culture was progressing, then religious syncretism is growing. Whatever is going to happen with the centralized administration, that is happening even during post-Mauryan period also. This is the crux, but how we write the answer, that it's all matters. First you start giving the question. First you write the question, then we will make a India map also. We will see different dimensions and in answer writing also. Write the question. Do you consider the post-Mauryan 5 centuries? Do you consider the post-Mauryan 5 centuries can be considered as dark period? Of Indian history. Of Indian history. Give reasons, question mark. Give reasons in support of your answer. Give reasons in support of your answer. Now what we do, to the side of your page, in answer writing also you can make like this. Suppose if this is the question paper, in your mains answer writing, in UPSC, question is printed like this, then empty space is given. Then you can make a box, either this side or this side, depending on your choice, preference. Now you make India map like this. Now we are going to show different. So now when it comes to this particular, where in your notebook, you make a proper image. This one diagram will show different dimensions. Now, when you write the answer, you will be easily connecting this. We make this. And you mark. Now we have to substantiate whether it is a dark period or one of the glorious phases of Indian history. We will write one by one. Just for explanation, I am giving you here. In economic terms, the economic conditions, we have to see whether this particular period from 200 BC to 300 AD, these 500 years, how the economic conditions are, what was the progress of economy. We have to, this is one particular dimension. Now we have to analyze how the economic condition was there. In this, you mark some important cities like Ujjain, here Sialkot, Takshila, Purushpura, Paitan, Madurai. Sorry, this is Madura and Ujjain. You mark them. And Pataliputra. When it comes to this period, these are some of the major urban areas. Now, economic conditions, we have to see how these cities were interacting, how they are connected, how economic transactions were going on. You mark some of the important ports also, like Broch, Sopara, Muziris, Kaveri Patnam, Masuli Patnam, Tamralipti, likewise. Now you see, so many ports are developed. Even today also we are, in GS3 you will get. Do you think the port-led development will make India one of the fastest growing economies in the world? So this shows the importance of ports in the economic development. Even during post-Mauryan time period also, many ports are there. That means economic progress must be there. Then, you keep filling this. This I will explain you one by one. Next, when it comes to the transportation, these are the major cities. Then transportation network also has to be strong if we want to say economy is growing. Now this side, Silk Road was going, and this Silk Road connected to this side also, to the Sindh, lower Sindh region internally. Now this is our Uttarapada and Dakshinapada are connected. Just mention these roads, Uttarapada and Dakshinapada. Silk Road was going, Uttarapada active, Dakshinapada is also active. Now many urban areas, communication network, different ports, everything is there. The moment when these infrastructure develops, agriculture also develops. Whatever agriculture products they are creating, producing, they get the ready-made market. Agriculture also flourish. Then so many economic activities means artisan activities also flourish. Once agriculture artisan, then trading activities. Now, what is the evidence that so much trading activities means? We got so many coins. In this part, Kushana coins we got. In this part, Satavahana coins we got. In this area, Shaka coins, so many coins we got. That shows trading activities were very, very important and they were flourishing. And in this way, we have to substantiate one by one. Then economic conditions, likewise. Then, when it comes to art and architecture, this is the same period the merchants were patronizing Buddhism and Hinduism pantheons. If you observe, these are the areas in Western Ghats. We have so many caves like Ajanta caves in post-Mauryan period, Karla, Kaniheri, different periods, and different caves. These caves were excavated or these caves constructed, sculpted during post-Mauryan period. Madura School of Art, then Gandhara School of Art, Amaravati School of Art, flourishing. Religion-wise, so many religions have got the place in Indian subcontinent. Everything is interacting, again flourishing. So this is how you just make this map. Everything we cannot put it in one place also, otherwise map will not become proper. You write up to here, then one by one we are going to write. Introduction. Write the introduction. The characterization of post-Mauryan 5 centuries. The characterization of the post-Mauryan 5 centuries. In bracket 200 BCE to 300 CE. The characterization of the post-Mauryan 5 centuries as the dark period, of Indian history is a matter of debate among historians. The term dark implies lack of progress during this time period. Lack of progress during this time period. Full stop. However, the evidence suggests that this period is not a dark one, and in fact, so much progress is witnessed. In the same period. You give the heading progress during post-Mauryan period. Agriculture, or you give this one. This is the main heading. Now under it, what we will get? Different headings we will get. You need not write this. Under this, we get economic progress, then art and culture, social. So different angles we will get. When it comes to art and culture, we get religion, literature, sculpture, architecture, and so on. Broadly, don't write this one, just I am giving. For any period throughout our syllabus, it's not only applicable to post-Mauryan, whether it is Mauryans, Guptas, then Delhi Sultanate, then Mughals, everywhere. Any period, if you take some particular period, we will study the political developments, how the stability of the state was there, whether it was stable or unstable, were there any invasions or... Hello, not audible?
Yes, sir, you are not audible. Now audible.
Okay, let me change the battery. Now audible, clear?
Yes, sir.
Any period, whether it is Delhi Sultanate, Mughals, Guptas, post-Gupta, any particular kingdom or empire. This is one dimension, how the political condition. Next, in post-Mauryan also, we have seen all various developments. In Northwest, what happened, in India, in Central India, what happened, Deccan, everywhere. Then, economic conditions. Economic conditions we give. Then, society. For that particular time period, how the political condition, what was the economic condition, how the social dynamics are taking place, how social interactions, then culture. Then science and technology. So broadly, polity, economy, society, culture, science and technology. These are the broad major themes. When it comes to post-Mauryan or Guptas, post-Guptas, Delhi Sultanate, everywhere, in this prism we have to see. Now when we are seeing about post-Mauryan period, whether it is a dark period or not, then we have to analyze all these angles. Then what are the major progress? Then based on that, we have to give the verdict whether it is a dark period or not. Now we are talking about this particular economic condition we are talking. Only when it comes to the polity, fragmented polity was there. But when it comes to the other areas, this period has seen progress. That's why it is not dark period. This is what we are going to substantiate now. Progress during post-Mauryan period, you give the heading economic progress. Economic progress. You write few points one by one. the discovery of different type of coins, discovery of different type of coins in Kushana Empire. Now you keep imagining India map. In which locations we identified these? In Kushana Empire and Satavahana Empire, and also Roman coins in different parts of Indian subcontinent. Roman coins in different parts of Indian subcontinent suggest that Indo-Greek coins, Satavahanas, Roman coins suggest that there was tremendous progress in trading activities. Trading activities. A strong trading both internal and external can be built upon strong agriculture and artisan activities. Strong agriculture and artisan activities. Buddhist literature, full stop. Buddhist literature like Jatakas throw light on various artisan activities in the Indian subcontinent. Sangam texts also refer to various economic activities. Full stop. Many guilds were actively involving in economic activities. We get the evidence of so many inscriptions in Western Ghats from their donations to religious activities during this period. Artisans, for when it comes to how we are defining this economic progress was there means coins, one archaeological evidence. We mentioned Kushanas, Satavahanas and Roman coins. Then when it comes to the artisan activities, Jataka stories mention. Then inscriptions about guilds, we get the evidence. Next we write agriculture also. During this time period, forests were cleared. Forests were cleared. As the iron technology became widespread. Earlier in Gangetic Valley, iron technology was much prevalent. Now iron technology now spread everywhere. Widespread in the Indian subcontinent. More agriculture land came into cultivation. More agriculture production witnessed during this period. Full stop. Next paragraph. Communication networks also developed. Communication networks also developed very well during this period. Communication networks also developed during this time period. Uttarapada and Dakshinapada. Uttarapada and Dakshinapada Uttarapada and Dakshinapada provided good connectivity from northwestern part of India to, now you can imagine this, from northwestern part of India to eastern part and also to deep south. And also to deep south. Next, full stop, next point. Silk Road was passing through Kushana Empire. Silk Road was passing through Kushana Empire. This benefited other parts of India as well. Other parts of India as well. Now we will mention some important centers. Trade centers like Takshila, Purushpura, Madurai, Ujjain, and Python are connected with this network. Next, last one, we will write one point related to ports also. During this time period, many ports like Broach, now you write a few ports from west coast to the east coast. Many ports like Broach, Mujiris, Kaveripatnam, and Tamralipti enabled the external trade with West Asia and Roman Empire, and to Southeast Asia. And to Southeast Asia. Economically, we have written like artisan activities with different evidence. And this is like a model for you. Whenever you are writing any point, any answer, try to bring as much evidence as possible. Whatever you are saying. In general studies, you need not to mention these evidences. But in history, optional, if you mention, you broadly know that literary sources are there, archaeological sources are there. When it comes to literary sources, Indian sources, foreign sources. Archaeological sources, coins and inscriptions. Broadly, ready-madely, you will get this framework. In this framework, wherever possible, if question directly asks about archaeological evidences, your brain will automatically remember. If question is about literary evidence, your brain automatically captures it. But now when it comes to dark period, it is not asking anywhere related to the evidences or inscriptions or literature. But our brain should be able to retrieve that information also. Because without having any literary work, without having any archaeological evidence, we cannot study about Post-Mauryan, about ancient India or medieval India. We have to mention about these sources. Whatever you are saying, try to recollect them. I am giving you this as a reference model so that you can apply in different parts. This is about economic progress. Next one. Progress in culture. Progress in culture. Write this. The post-Mauryan period witnessed the post-Mauryan period witnessed the growth of regional cultures and amalgamation of indigenous and foreign elements. This period saw the rise of Shungas in north, Satavahanas in Deccan, Kushanas in northwest, and Sangam kingdoms in deep south. These regional kingdoms patronized art, architecture, and literature. During this period. Next, under it, you give like schools of art, subheading, schools of art. Different schools of art like Gandhara, Madura, Amaravati schools of art, Gandhara, Madura, and Amaravati schools of art flourished during this time period. Next, caves. This period also witnessed witnessed the progress of cave architecture in places like Ajanta, Karla, Kanheri, Baja, etc. Next, stupa. This period is remarkable for the development of stupa architecture like Sanchi, Barhut, Amaravati stupas. Next one, literature. This period witnessed remarkable progress in Sanskrit and Prakrit. Sanskrit and Prakrit. Now we have to give some evidences. Now you have many things to write, but we are going to mention few things. Due to revival of Brahmanical traditions, and also adaptation of Sanskrit by Buddhists. Sanskrit literature got a boost in the form of writings of Puranas, Dharmashastras, and also Buddhist literature like Buddha Charita, like Buddha Charita by Ashwagosha. Ashwagosha. Prakrit literature also witnessed progress in the form of Halas Gada Saptasati, Halas Gada Saptasati. In bracket, you write a Shatavahana ruler. He was a Satavahana ruler. Hala himself was a writer. He has written Gada Saptasati. And many Jataka stories. Many Jataka stories. So when it comes to culture, we are giving the reference of different schools of art, different cave tradition, stupas, literature. This is a framework. Now in an examination, or now see, whenever you get some evidence, extra evidence, there is always space limit and time limit. That is why we have to limit. Otherwise, there is no limit when it comes to the number of evidences. You can keep on adding. When it comes to prelims examination, you are going to read during post-Mauryan time period many Sanskrit writings. And similarly, when it comes to Prakrit also, you will get different writings. For example, in Sanskrit, the grammar work, you mentioned this also, we will end with this. Patanjali's Mahabhashya. Patanjali's Mahabhashya, a commentary on Panini's Ashtadhyayi. Also written in this period. So likewise, you will keep getting evidences. If it is 10 marker, you have to limit the same answer. If it is 20 marker, you have to elaborate the answer. But only the framework is, when you are writing something, you try to give as much evidence as possible. While you are reading the material, while you are reading the books, you will get lot of evidences. And in my class also, I have mentioned many evidences. So you keep adding them according to the number of marks. 10 marks means you cannot give much evidence, but 20 marker, you can give lot of evidences. Last paragraph. This period also known for the emergence of Tamil literary tradition in the form of Sangam literature. Only when you scan entire India, then only you will be able to remember that in this part what type of literature developed, in this what type of literature. Now deep south Tamil literature. Tamil epics and Tamil grammar Tamil epics and Tamil grammar were compiled during this same period. I will take Tamil literature separately. There you will get many literary works, and when it comes to this part, you can give adding few points. This is about literary tradition. Now we have Sanskrit also, Prakrit also, and Tamil also. Economy we have seen, and when it comes to culture progress also we have seen. Next you give religious developments. Religious developments. When it comes to religion, now by this time you have full idea that how many religions are there in India, and also other religion also entered. This era witnessed further spread of Buddhism and Jainism. Buddhism and Jainism. Vedic religion also transformed into Bhagavatism and foreigners like Heliodorus also accepted Bhagavatism as his religion. Christianity also reached India through Saint Thomas, in the same period. India was already a home for Zoroastrianism, and the Greek religions. Zoroastrianism, Greek religions. All these developments shows that India is open for all types of religious beliefs. Next, society. Social progress. So when it comes to society, it's like both sides. We have some negative elements also, we have some positive elements also. When it comes to the progress, we have to write to social positives. This period witnessed mixing of various social groups across the world, or you can write across the known world. Across the known world. The northwestern part of India became the entry point for Persians, Greeks, Central Asians, and Central Asians. Gradually, these people intermixed with the people beyond Indus region and gave a unique multiracial and multicultural Indian society. So by this time now you can see this. These points are going to be common. Even during Delhi Sultanate period also you are going to write the same thing. Only some new people will come with new names, with new religion. Apart from that, there is no difference. As of now, we have never mentioned Islam because Islam is yet to take the birth. Once Islam takes the birth, from the same roots Islam also reach. And on top of all these religions, you are going to give extra religion, Islam. And when it comes to this time, Shaka, Kushanas, these names you are utilizing. But by early medieval time period, medieval, you are going to use the term Turks. So same thing, only the name of the people is going to change, but again, the description of our society is same thing. Multiracial, multicultural, Indian social characteristic. So likewise, social progress. This period showed the remarkable assimilatory characteristic of Indian society. The historians like V.A. Smith, V.A. Smith praised the wonderful assimilative power of Indian subcontinent. Whoever comes, anyone can come to India and they will become part of Indian traditions. So this is how, when it comes to society also, it has shown, this period has shown how remarkably let any people come and everyone become part of Indian society. This is social characteristic. Economy we have seen. Economy, here economic condition, social condition, culture also we have seen. Now science and technology, give the heading, the progress in science and technology. For any question, nowadays UPSC questions are very dynamic, but this is the ready-made, the structure. Once you categorize every point into this structure, every point will cover somewhere here, either in polity, economy, society, culture, art and science and technology. And if you see our syllabus also, in fact, our entire medieval India, we can broadly categorize into only 3 chapters. But it appears like from chapter 15 to 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. This is what entire medieval India. Up to 14, ancient and early medieval. Now you see, during ancient time period itself, we see these, because when it comes to prehistory, Harappan society, Vedic society, these institutions are gradually emerging. That is why we cannot use this one, or we will not have the sufficient details for everything in prehistory. Unless we come to the stage of Mauryans, post-Mauryans, these institutions did not fully emerge. And after post-Mauryan, these institutions are strongly emerged. For every period we can use. By medieval time period, our history syllabus itself gives very clear indication that if you take from unit 15 to unit 24, just broadly you can have Delhi Sultanate, Mughals, and regional kingdoms. Broadly, all these units you can categorize into 3 parts only. That means 3 chapters. Now you see, entire medieval India is converted into 3 parts. Now what we study in each and every part? This is what is 15, 16, 17. Only elaboration. In Delhi Sultanate, UPSC syllabus mentions society, economy, culture, and polity. So this is what, in polity we see all the invasions. Once again, same story. Turks, Rajput, Turkish rivalry, then conquest of Turkish, Alauddin Khalji, different dynasties. After this, society, economy, culture during Delhi Sultanate period, or Delhi under Delhi Sultanate. Once Mughal comes, again repetition. Polity, Babar, Humayun, Akbar, how they expanded their territories. Then once again, once they settled, how there's the society, how the economy, how the culture. When it comes to regional kingdoms also, if you take Vijayanagara Empire, for example, their polity, their society, their economy, their culture. Even during Vijayanagara Empire time period also, there are so many foreign observers. Like Megasthenes here, many people used to come to Vijayanagara Empire. They left so many records. By that time, French people, Portuguese people, by that time period, French and Portuguese, they were roaming around the world and they observed about Vijayanagara. And at this time, Greeks were roaming and Greeks have observed about India. So only names are changing, but the structure is similar. Just only this part, entire medieval India syllabus is covered. And literally what we are studying, this is what in ancient India also. For Gupta, you replace Delhi Sultanate with Gupta. Gupta polity, Gupta society, Gupta economy, Gupta culture. And if you include science and technology also in art and culture itself, that is also will be covered. Or if you want to separately study also, science and technology is another dimension. For Guptas, again. Now in post-Mauryan, when it comes to dark period, we are seeing the same structure only. Polity we have seen, this is no doubt disintegrated. Economic condition, we have seen the progress. Society, we are seeing the progress. Culture also, we are seeing the progress. And last one, science and technology. Give the heading, progress in science and technology. Science and technology. Medicine. Famous physician Charaka. Famous physician Charaka wrote Charaka Samhita. Wrote Charaka Samhita. During this period. During this period. Now you see, because of the interaction with outside world, how we are benefiting. Astronomy. Greeks were very good in astronomy. Now Greeks are at the doorsteps of India. Because of this, astronomy also became part of our Indian tradition. Astronomy through Indo-Greeks took new heights in Indian subcontinent. Took new heights in Indian subcontinent during this period. The term Hora Shastra The term Horashastra is often referred in Sanskrit texts. And you might be knowing this term horoscope. It's very famous one, horoscope. The inspiration behind Horashastra term is the Greek term horoscope. So technologies. Now Charaka, one example, Greeks horoscope. Through Central Asian, next point, military technology. Through Central Asian contacts, India got new military techniques. New military techniques like military equipments, and also military techniques and also usage of techniques like stirrup. Stirrup and long boots. Long boots are attributed to Kushanas. Medicine, astronomy, military. Now, in fact, these will enable the soldier. Stirrup will help when soldiers sit on the back of horse. It gives stability. And long boots, again, safety in the war field. And these techniques later used by Guptas. And Guptas gained upper hand in comparison with their competitors. Guptas initially, they were feudatories of Kushanas and they learned the same techniques. And these techniques later we are going to see everywhere, including Rajputs also. So it is everywhere. Whatever is happening at this point of time, later it is going to become part and parcel of Indian traditions. This is how it is benefiting. Next, you give metallurgy. Metallurgy. India is known for making steel swords, India is known for making steel swords called wood steel. One of the famous swords for its strength, it is very well known even in the outside India also. This was even exported to other countries. This was even exported to other countries. In fact, at this point of time, no other country in the world, could match the steel swords made by Indian craftsmen. And they were in great demand in Western world. They were in great demand in Western world. So are you getting the purpose of giving this question? The purpose of giving the complete structure is to develop this structure, whatever may be the answer. Unless question is particularly asking about the political developments, then your thought process completely restricted to these political developments only. Then if questions are about economic condition, then your entire focus goes to economy only. Questions can be asked only on society. In society also, there are various dimensions. Gradually, we are going to see so many dimensions. If question is very broadly about society, then you will bring all those dimensions. Sometimes, question is related to only the conditions of women. Women, the dimension is part of society, then you are going to limit your answer to that particular dimension. Then if it is about Varna system, only Varna system. Then about culture, sometimes questions like contribution of Satavahanas to art and culture. Then every point, every dimension. But sometimes write about the cave architecture in India. Then you have your entire answer focus goes to only cave architecture. But that cave architecture is one of the elements of sculpture. Then science and technology. Generally questions will come for technological progress because individual points will not have that much evidence. If question comes, they will ask like entire science and technology. This is how our entire syllabus is also structured. Our questions also will come in this format only. whatever question you take in ancient India and medieval India, it will be like in this format. Mughals, science and technology during Mughal progress, art and culture during Mughal progress, Mughal time period, painting during Mughal time period, literature during Mughal time period, then peasant conditions in Mughal time period, labor conditions in Mughal time period. Now when it comes to Gupta, social conditions in Gupta time period. In post-Mauryan also, questions can be only on social conditions of post-Mauryan, social conditions of Mauryan time period. So entire syllabus now, some student or whenever many students think about history optional, they think about it is very vast. But if we completely study in this 5 framework, what is big in this? And in fact, the same story continues. Whatever we study in Mauryans, most of those elements will come in post-Mauryans. Then in post-Mauryan, hardly few points you are going to add. But most of your answer is Mauryan answer only, in fact. Our Indian society is not a separate one. Mauryan society is not different, post-Mauryan society is not different. Whatever Mauryans were having the society, same society is continuing. On top of it, a few more elements will come. That is why history option is not a big one. Only the syllabus is very detailed one, elaborated one. And in fact, simply our UPSC syllabus can be mentioned like this also. Political condition, economic condition, social conditions, culture, art and architecture, or science and technology from ancient time period to modern time period. In single line also we can write the question syllabus. But UPSC don't want to confuse the students. That's why it has elaborated. If you see the culture, particularly this elaboration is very clear when it comes to medieval time period. When it comes to ancient time period, still, because in ancient time period, these institutions are evolving. That is why we cannot clearly segregate for each and every chapter. But by medieval time period, these institutions are very clear. That is why in our syllabus also, you will see this very detailed one. Separate chapter for culture during Mughal time period. Then very detailed they have given like Persian literature, Hindi literature. By the time Persian is very strong, then Hindi literature. Now in post-Mauryan time period, we are not talking about Hindi. But after 1000 years, Hindi is going to become part of Indian tradition. Vernacular regional languages. Then paintings. Likewise, very detailed aspect by medieval time period, these institutions are going to become very clear cut. At this post-Mauryan time period itself, we are seeing these institutions very clearly. That is why when it comes to dark period, you have to talk about everything. The purpose of giving this question is so that I can explain you all the dimensions in one question itself. But we have to see in detail about each and everything. Those things also I will give in the next classes. We have to talk about economic conditions alone, social conditions alone, culture conditions alone, science and technology culture and alone. So for 20 marker or 15 marker, suppose this dark period, for 15 marks, you will get this question. Now you think practically how many points you can write about polity, how many points you can write about economy. You have to give the space for polity also, economy also, society also, culture also, technology also. But the same space. Suppose 2 pages are there, then you have to write everything in these 2 pages only. In these 2 pages, only you will get this much space for polity, this much for economy, this much for society, likewise. That's why this question is very best example to give you complete idea about all the dimensions of this particular chapter itself. This is the entire chapter, in fact. There is nothing in post-Mauryan means we are not studying anything extra. We are studying only these things. This question demands few points from every dimension. There can be other question that only society during social conditions during post-Mauryan. The moment social condition, then your entire energy goes to describe about the society. There again, what story you are going to write? Same, whatever in later Vedic time period society we have written, whatever Mauryan society we have read, and the same elements are going to continue in post-Mauryan also. We are going to write about the same Varna system, same Ashrama system, and this Varna Ashrama system, additional point will be, earlier there were no Kushanas, no Shakas, no Indo-Greeks, now we are going to add these people names. And in our Indian society, social literature, we are going to use the terminology like Yavanas. Yavanas is the term used for Greeks. Then Mlescha is often used this term in Puranas to describe the foreign elements, foreigners. So those two elements extra will come to the post-Mauryan time period, but the story is continuation. Same is the case with Guptas also, same story. That is why the society or any institution for post-Mauryan, it doesn't mean only post-Mauryan. You are going to write the same society of later Vedic and Mauryan in post-Mauryan also. By the time Gupta comes, you are going to include post-Mauryan society also in Guptas. That is why our history syllabus, once you get this framework, then very, very easy in writing the answers. And our entire interest only left is getting the evidences. Story is same, but for Gupta society, we have different sources. For post-Mauryan society, we have different sources. All that matters is what is the reference, which book is giving this reference, and which inscription is giving this reference, and which foreign source is giving this reference. Otherwise, story remains the same. Almost every question you will be able to answer without any doubt. Are you clear, students, up to here? I have given science and technological progress also. This we have seen the brighter side of post-Mauryan time period. Is it all right up to now? Any student do have? Yes, Tarun. Allows us to stand and shoot. Yes. All of you understood up to here? Now we have to write few other elements that why scholars consider this as a dark period, but overall judgment we write in the conclusion. You give this. Next heading, why scholars considered this as dark period. Why scholars consider this as dark period? First subheading, lack of centralized empire. Write 1 or 2 points. After the vast Mauryan Empire, you keep imagining, Mauryan Empire means we have written maps also up to which extent Mauryan Empire was there. After the vast Mauryan Empire, India did not see a comparable centralized centralized political entity until the Gupta Empire. Full stop. Until Gupta Empire. This fragmentation might be seen as a political darkness. Mauryan Empire centralized and more or less centralized, not like Mauryans, but in comparison with the previous time period, centralized. But in between, fragmented polity, and this is seen as the darkness. Next one, foreign invasions. Foreign invasions. The period witnessed multiple foreign invasions. The period witnessed multiple foreign invasions and settlements of foreigners like Indo-Greeks, Shakas, Parthians and Kushanas. This influx seen as a disruption, in the indigenous culture. This has seen as a disruption in the Indian culture. Therefore, it is considered as dark period. Dark period. Next, third one. Another point is, if it is Mauryan Empire, if it is Gupta Empire, this is centralized empire, and whatever sources, historical sources, evidences, whatever you are getting, more or less they describe about most part of Indian subcontinent. Because entire India, almost India under one authority, most part of India under one authority. Whatever inscription, whatever literary evidence you get, it talks about Gupta Empire as a whole. For most part of India, we get some kind of idea that probably in most part of India, this was the condition. But when it comes to this, we have so many kingdoms and so much fragmentation in the polity. We need a lot of resources to understand about this particular time period. But relatively, we got less evidence in order to understand, for example, for Kharavela, Kalinga. Kalinga Empire was there. But for the entire Kalinga time period, we have only one inscription, that is Hathigumpa inscription. And whatever Hathigumpa inscription says, we are forced to accept it. And first of all, we don't know what is truth about it. And second one, we don't have any other reference to compare, whether it is how far it is true also. Particularly these royal eulogies are we should be very careful in reading about the royal eulogies. Eulogy means praisings. Whoever is writing. For example, suppose if I like one particular politician, then I will start praising him and I will take the politician to the god status. But reality, how much it is true, I don't, others, whoever reading my book, they don't understand. Unless there is other person who writes the other point of view. For today, we have so many newspapers. One newspaper glorifies the government. Other newspapers tries to demonize. And there might be other newspaper which tries to bring the balanced. What is exactly the truth? Today, we have so many references to compare what is truth and what is exaggeration. But so many developments are taking place, but we have limited availability of resources to reconstruct this time period. And that is another reason why we considered, some scholars considered it as dark period. And in fact, this limitation is not limited to this period, but this limitation is almost universal for our ancient part. But still, that point also we can write in this. Third one, limited availability of sources. Sources are primary sources. Primary sources means the sources which directly observed during that time period. Primary sources. One point. Our understanding of this period is constrained due to the limited availability of primary sources. Yes, Tarun. Prudhviraj Rachobhai, Chand Bardai, and Aine Akbari, Abul Fazil. So they are the royal biographies, and they used to glorify their master. This lack of clear records, this lack of clear records might contribute to its characterization as dark. Now we have to give the conclusion. Conclusion is critical assessment. Critical assessment. Now we know what are the progress and what are the limitations. Critical. While the term dark period may suggest lack of centralized authority, and disruption in the existing social conditions while the term dark period may suggest lack of centralized authority and disruptions but the evidence prove otherwise. But the evidence prove otherwise. The era, full stop. The era was characterized. The era was characterized by significant just whatever headings we have given in the answer, we are going to write in line by line, word by word. The era was characterized by significant economic, cultural, religious, and technological progress The era was characterized by significant economic, cultural, religious, and technological progress. Even in the political sphere, full stop. Next point. Even in the political sphere, though there was fragmented polity, the regional kingdoms were providing stable administration, ensured law and order in their domains, and promoted socio-economic and cultural progress. Even with respect to polity also, we are twisting into the positive term. No centralized, no doubt, but whatever the kingdom is in their hand, they ensured stability and they promoted the other spheres also. Therefore, last point. Therefore, the term dark period to post-Mauryan age is a misleading interpretation. Full stop. Last point. Generally, why these European scholars used to give this means, in Europe, they were having these kind of terminologies. In European history, because in the 19th century, whatever the revival of Indian historiography, initially the British scholars contributed to this. And obviously, when they are studying about this, they study a lot of European history also. In the European history and the European historiography, the term dark period is very common usage, particularly to medieval periods. When serfdom was there, when slavery was there, when completely nobles fragmented, feudalism. In that age, feudalism, the centralized authority was weak. As a result, people suffered a lot. Serfdom became common. Slavery was very common. As a result, the social progress degraded. Now, when you are coming from this kind of society and studying this, you try to use the similar type of pattern and similar type of terminology. And this is where exactly our UPSC questions also. Questions nowadays, they are asking whether the term feudalism applies to India or not, whether the term dark period applies to India or not. Because our society is different, our history is different. When they are reading in their prism, whatever lack of central authority, it appears for them is dark period. It appears for them feudalism. But the way our society functioned is different. For example, slavery in Megasthenes at this point of time itself. The way slaves were treated in European society, Roman society was different. The way slaves treated in Indian society was different. Slaves were treated so humanely in India that Megasthenes could not identify who is a slave and who is a normal person. Normal person also looking like the slave, only slaves looking like a normal person in the treatment also. That is why Megasthenes completely said there is no slavery at all. That is the conclusion he made out of this treatment. Because in their society, slaves were clearly differentiated. The way they were treated, the way they were treated by their masters inhumanely. But that kind of inhumane treatment was not there here in slave. That is why their interpretations, their terminology exactly will not apply here. Now in GS, as of now in history optional, feudalism, dark period, these terminologies are common for optional questions. In GS, this is very, very common question. How Western secularism is different from Indian secularism? And do you think the Western secularism applies to Indian secularism model? So this is how in their society, church and state completely different. But when it comes to India, our ethics, our morals emanate from the religion, and we are open to every religion. That's why we take good elements from every religion. And the state authority also follows some good elements of these religions. That is why our moral system comes from the same religions, but still we are not persecuting based on the religion. That's why state can influence from the religious ideas. Same is the case with Ashoka Dhamma also. Dhamma, good elements, comes from Buddhism, but it doesn't mean he persecuted non-Buddhist sects. Pushyamitra Shunga, he followed Brahmanical text. It doesn't mean he persecuted non-Brahmanical religions. Akbar, his state authority comes from the Islamic literature, but it doesn't mean non-Islam people were persecuted by Delhi Sultanate or Mughals. Our Indian society is different, state system is different. No doubt, whenever there are limitations in our system, and if some good element is there outside India, we were ready to accept it also. That is what our post-Mauryan society is giving indications. Delhi Sultanate, Mughals, anytime, even in British time period also, Gandhiji used to say, and this is what the general sentiment of people also. Gandhiji used to say that we are not against the British. We are not against your people. We are against your policies. Whatever good you are bringing, we are ready to accept it. But if you treat inhumanely and unequally, we are opposing that. So that is what we are not against coming Europeans to India, but they did not integrate with Indian society naturally. And in fact, they degraded and they have treated Indians in a degraded manner. That is what we were forced to go for this independent struggle, and we were forced to drive the Europeans out of India. Otherwise, before they became the power, many Europeans were there. Many English people were freely intermixing with the Mughal time period. During Vijayanagara time period, many French people were roaming in Vijayanagara Empire. And many Italians, they were roaming in India. There is nothing against the people coming to this particular land. But if you treat inhumanely, if you treat in a different way, that is what the contention. That is why we drove all the Europeans out of India in freedom struggle. Had they integrated with Indian society peacefully, equally, we would not have seen this kind of freedom struggle. It's like natural integration. Today we can see America. America is, there is no particular American as such. It is a mixture of people from everywhere. Indians there, Chinese there, Europeans were there, Africans were there, Native Americans were there, everyone was there. As long as you integrate with the society, there is no problem for any society. But when you try to dominate, all problems will emerge. That is why the last sentence, where, what is the last word I have mentioned? Misleading. Up to here you have written misleading. The use of the, okay, the last sentence, we will stop class here. The use of the term dark period, the use of the term dark period might stem from Eurocentric historical perspectives. Eurocentric historical perspectives. Full stop. This cannot be applied to Indian context. Full stop. This cannot be applied to Indian context. Is it clear up to now? How to see every period, any time period we have to see in this prism. Is this class available in YouTube? We are working on that. In few days, we will see YouTube live also. As of now, through Zoom link, you will be able to access this. All right? Students, clear? Anyone does have any doubt? Through this question, I try to give you the broad structure, overall structure. You can apply this structure to every part. This has given you complete idea about entire our Post-Mauryan chapter itself. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, day after tomorrow, Monday, we are going to have the class. Tomorrow, no class. Monday, we will meet. All right, students. Thank you.